we've seen production now increasing for 4 consecutive quarters, and we've been able to redeploy that cash into both continuing to push forward with our Paradox operations. We've been reinvesting in some wells in the Williston to help keep our production levels up there, and we've seen our debt levels come down from over $33 million at June of last year to about $27.9 million today.
All right, welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Colin Harrington. He is the CEO of Zephyr Energy. And Colin, it's good to see you. How are you?
Very well, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks very much. And exciting news out from the company talking about your interim financials. And they tell a very interesting story about a number of different things, but more importantly, about production and cash flow and things like that. So let's get your overall view of what you're seeing in those interims.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first half, the numbers for the first half of 2024. Great performance from our underlying assets at the Williston. So that really drives our cash flow generation. We saw revenues up from this time last year. Gross profit, which is the margin between where we're selling oil and gas and what the the lease operating expenses and taxes and everything else are. That was up to $10 million, up from 9.4 last year. So really good margins that we're seeing from there. I think we averaged about 1,200, just over 1,200 BOE a day in sales volumes. So we've seen production now increasing for 4 consecutive quarters, and we've been able to redeploy that cash into both continuing to push forward with our Paradox operations. We've been reinvesting in some wells in the Williston to help keep our production levels up there, and we've seen our debt levels come down from over $33 million at June of last year to about $27.9 million today. So all in all, really good performance, and we're very excited about where we're positioned and what we're going to do going forward. You did mention cash. I'd love to touch on that for a minute, if you'd like.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you do have a healthy cash balance right now as of September, but you also have some information about insurance and stuff you've had to pay out that's going to be reimbursed. I think that's an important part of this.
Absolutely. It's really important for people to understand when we're in periods of heavy drilling, as we were at the end of the first half. The proceeds from this well, the redrill of the 36-2, are all covered by well control insurance, but that's a reimbursement policy. So we front the money, we pay our service providers, we then submit an invoice for reimbursement, and within 30 days, typically the insurance company pays us that money into our accounts. So there are often lumpy times through this process. You saw it at the end of the first half, and you see it today, where, as you mentioned, we have $1.3 million of cash in the bank, a receivable that will be arriving any day for $3 million from the insurance company, and we have some revenues from our production that's coming in at the end of the month. So cash balances really at the end of the month will be closer to $5 million than the 1.3 on the balance sheet.
Yeah, on that, Colin, so how much have you been able to be reimbursed by the insurance companies?
Yeah, to date, it's over $15 million that they've reimbursed us for, and there will be continuing payments going forward as we wrap up the remainder of the expenses on that well.
Okay. Let's talk about 36-2. Give me an update there on what's been happening and what's ahead and some maybe potential opportunities for partnerships and things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we talked about this last time. We were really excited to see the results from the acidization of that well. We acidized 130 feet of the wellbore in the reservoir where we are, had really high deliverability, really high rates coming back. Very exciting stuff. Right now, we're in a process, a detailed analysis to determine next steps there. The two alternatives are just produce as is and produce from 130 feet of this reservoir, or to lengthen this out to 4,000 feet and really give a good test of the overall program. We're doing detailed analysis around that. We're doing a directional plan, canvassing service providers. We're trying to assess what the cost would be to do this. And we expect to be able to release the details of that analysis and our plans going forward in the next few weeks. And you're right, on the partnership side, really excited to see the reception that we've had here so far. We are in advanced discussions about looking at farm-ins for the wellbore only here, or potentially a broader asset level transaction as well. So we're making good progress there. We're firing on all cylinders and just looking forward to the next steps. And we'll be back to the market as soon as we have a decision point as to which way to go.
Colin, lastly, it looks like you just have the company in a really strong position right now. The debt's coming down. You're getting cash from operations. You're continuing to do exploration as far as the wells are concerned. It seems like the company is really in a position right now where you can start to really see some growth moving forward.
Absolutely. And clearly, we're really going to push forward on turning the wells that we've drilled into the Paradox into producers. And that's going to have a significant impact on our overall revenue and production profile. But we want to do this right. It's an immature basin. We've learned a lot over the past few years, and we're certainly analyzing here how to maximize the investment that we've already made and get this in production as soon as we can. So that's going to have a big impact. We continue to invest in the Williston, and we're just looking forward to pushing forward on all fronts.
Absolutely. Colin, thanks so much. Great update. Good to see you as well. We'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good, Steve. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, there's Colin Harrington, the CEO of Zephyr Energy.